Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh aircraft release from ICM. It's a 148 scale model kit, and we already reviewed one version of it. So as you can see, it's a Ki-21-Ia Sally. So it's a Japanese heavy bomber, and the set number is 48196. So of course we have the commercial sample here, so it means you'll get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review, and it should be already available, so you can get it, for example, in Modelimex, and they will have also the previous version as far as I remember. Nevertheless, today we are talking about this one, and this is the final shape of this release. Nothing will change, and as you can see, we have quite nice box art here. I would say it's a typical Japanese bomber camouflage, which should look impressive in the 148 scale kit. And as you can notice, the box size is pretty standard for such release from ICM. Here you can see also some information about the kit and also information about the manufacturer. It's written that we have the 270 parts, and the wingspan will be 471 millimeters. So quite a large model, so definitely consider it when you will be choosing whether to get 148 scale release or 172nd. And yes, that's right, there is also 172nd scale model from the same brand, so in case you need a smaller release, you're also covered by ICM. Here what I'm showing is 5 marking options choice, and we will talk more about them when we will be opening the assembly manual, because they are printed there as a marking guides. And as you can see, the box is sealed with the tape, so I'm going to cut through it right now. In the meantime, I can also remind you that we reviewed all of the previous releases for this Sally bomber, so you can find in 172nd scale. You can also check the 148 scale initial release, and of course just write the name of this aircraft and you'll find all of the necessary videos, and there will be also the review articles with detailed photos, so also something to check. And as for today's kit, there will be also the review article, but it will be posted a bit later, and the link will be in the description below. So in case you are interested in checking the photos, just wait a bit and it will be online as well. So what I'm doing now is opening the box, and here is what we have inside. So all parts are packed into one plastic bag. It's a resealable plastic bag, so it should be easy and quick to open. But well, some of the, let's say, recent kits which arrived from ICM, they show that it's better probably to pack the sprues into 2 plastic bags instead of 1, because it gets a bit tight, and amount of parts, as you remember, is also quite large, so that's why it's better to have a bit more space in the box. But there was no, I would say, serious damage, so this is just some small recommendation for manufacturer maybe. So here we start with a gray plastic sprue, and as you can see, this one is dedicated to the tail section. Also we have here the tail wings and the separate elevators and rudder. So all of this stuff should be assembled out of 2 hulls, and if I flip it over, you can see that we have the guiding pins inside, so it should be easy to combine them, but still you will have to pay attention while working with this stuff, because again, this is a 2-piece assembly, so that's why it might take some time to get the convincing connection between the parts. Next we continue with the sprue C. So this one is dedicated to the wing parts, and here you can notice that we have the separate ailerons. Flaps are pre-molded, so in case you would like to have the dropped flaps, you will have to get the aftermarket release or maybe modify it somehow with your own hands and tools. In both cases, I think it will take some time and it's necessary to have some experience, because otherwise you might end up with just damaged wing. Here inside we have the guiding pins, so that's also a good thing, because the parts are quite large, and as you remember, we have the wingspan, which is almost 0.5 meter, so quite a serious size, I would say, or dimensions. Next we continue with the fuselage halves, so both are molded without the tail section, as you remember, and also we have here the engine gondolas halves as well. We have the instrument panel here, this is the fuel tank, and as for the external features, well, I shown it in the previous video, and here we have it as well. As you can see, the door is pre-molded, so you won't be able to open it, even though ICM provides us with the quite detailed interior for this scale. Still it will be hidden inside. As you can see, we have even some pre-molded features on the fuselage halves, and that's why I'm still not sure why they decided not to have the door molded separately. It's such a tiny feature which could make a really big difference. Next we continue with the two sprues which are marked as a letter E, so just give me a second. Here, as you can guess, we get all of the parts which are coming in a twin amount on this aircraft. It means the engines and also the landing gear parts. Landing gear parts, for example, this leg main section looks quite impressive because we have all of this stuff molded as a single piece part, so it's just a matter of assembling all of these things together. I wonder if this will be enough to support the weight of the model, so definitely consider this factor because this is a 1/48 scale bomber, so it's definitely going to have some, I would say, noticeable heft, and that's why it is important to somehow to reinforce the landing gear as well. Next, I'm opening the plastic bag with clear sprue. Here we have the canopy parts, and as for the canopy parts, I would say everything looks cool. As far as I remember, in the previous release we had the masking guide, so this should be also covered, literally and figuratively, but masking guide means that you have to cut your own masks, so be ready for this, but in my opinion it's still better than nothing, just like in some other kits. Next we continue with the sprue D, so this one is more about interior parts. You can see a lot of things which will go inside the fuselage and a lot of small parts as well, so here you can see comparison with my fingertip. Some of them will require usage of tweezers because otherwise you might end up with losing them to the carpet monster and then it will be really difficult to find them. Next we have the final sprue. This one is the sprue B and it is dedicated to the interior floor and also to the wing halves. As you can see, pretty much the same quality, recessed panel lines, and by the way, the recessed panel lines are not that deep, so try not to lose them under the coat of paint and primer. And again, inside you'll find the guiding pins, so nothing different from the initial first sprue. Next, we have decals which are hidden in the assembly manual, so I will show them in a second. The decal sheet is not mentioning any printer who was manufacturing these decals, but as you can see, the printing quality looks good. We have even some decals for the instrument panel, but obviously no seat belts, so you will have to source some P parts in case you would like to replicate the seat belts, and maybe some others might try to replicate the Hinamaru with the masks, because those red circles look even better once they are airbrushed on your model. Next we continue with the assembly manual, so here I have to close the lenses even more and maybe zoom out a bit more. And as you can see, it's a large color printed brochure. We have short history note and technical specifications, and also we have the colors chart which is given in ICM paints numbers. So quite a interesting trick, but ICM paints are quite nice, so that's why I would rather try them if you have a chance to get them. Next we continue with the parts map, and here we see that almost all of the parts will be used, not almost, so this is quite surprising. Try not to break or lose anything, because then you have to repair it somehow. And the assembly process starts with the fuselage, so here straight away we install the tail sections in place, and frankly speaking I was expecting that tail sections will be glued together and then inserted into the assembled fuselage, but here we have a slightly different sequence. And as you can see, we continue with more things going inside the fuselage, and also the bomb bay will be quite detailed as well. So you have to consider whether you would like to open at least the bomb bay so that it will be visible on the aircraft. Here we also have the fuel tanks going inside, and then with more parts for the machine gunners sections. Here we have the radio being assembled, another side of the fuselage getting more details from the opposite side, and then we join the fuselage halves together. Here we continue with this separate bomb bay doors. As you can see, they can be assembled in open or closed position. This is really cool feature in my opinion. And here we have also machine gunner position, so at least through this opening you'll be able to see the interior inside. I am just looking here where we install more of the clear parts over the gunner's position, cockpit, and also the nose section where the observer was sitting. And next we continue with the wing assembly, so wings should be held in place with help of these large spars, but I would rather recommend also to have some metal reinforcement, because as I said before, this is a 0.5 meter wingspan, so this is definitely not a joke, and you can have this again in few days. Next we continue with the landing gear. Next you can see the engine gondolas getting in place. Manufacturer does not offer the option to display both engines, so in case you would like to do so, you have to improvise a bit. And here we install the propellers as the last stage of the assembly together with antennas. Next we have the masking template for the masks over all of the clear parts. As you can see, there are a lot of them, that's why I'm saying this is really handy bonus. And here we have two marking options from 1939 and 1941. And then we continue with the 1941 and 1942. This one I think was from the box art. And here is another one from 1943. So overall 5 marking options. And I think this is a quite cool kit in 1/48 scale, which you can assemble with the recent Zero from Edward. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.